Welcome to the deep dive.
Hello.
Today, we're jumping into chapter 13 of Jeremiah.
hmm
And this chapter, well, it uses some really powerful images. The message hits hard. It's quite challenging, actually.
It really is. And our goal for this deep dive is, to try and unpack those core messages.
Those warnings.
Exactly, the warnings. And to figure out why these specific symbols, these analogies were used, what's the thinking behind them?
Okay, let's dive right in. It starts with the Lord telling Jeremiah to do something.
Hmm.
Well, pretty odd.
Mm-hmm.
Go buy a linen belt, just, a belt made of linen.
Simple enough so far.
Right. But then comes the instruction.
Mm-hmm.
Put it on, wear it close to you, but, and this is the important bit, don't let it touch water.
Keep it dry, pristine.
Exactly. Keep it clean and dry. And the text says Jeremiah does just that. He gets the belt, puts it on, keeps it away from water.
So you have this image of something clean, new, held close, bound to him.
Precisely. Then, instruction number 2. Take that same belt, go to a place called Perath.
Which is likely near the Euphrates, a place associated with exile later on. A bit distant.
Yeah. Go there and hide the belt in a crevice in the rocks.
Hide it away. And again, Jeremiah obeys. He goes, he tucks it into the rocks.
So this thing meant to be worn close, kept clean, is now hidden, exposed to damp, dirt, whatever's in that crevice.
Yeah, that initial keep it dry instruction really stands out now, doesn't it? It's setting up the contrast.
Totally. And then time passes. The text just says many days. Could be weeks, months, we don't know. Long enough.
Long enough for nature to take its course.
Right. Then the Lord tells him, okay, go back to Perath, get the belt you hid.
And what does he find?
Predictably, perhaps, it's ruined. The text says ruined and completely useless.
Just decayed, worthless.
So this whole elaborate exercise,
Yeah.
what's the point?
Well, the Lord explains it immediately. That closeness, the way the belt was bound to Jeremiah's waist,
Yeah.
that's how the Lord had bound the people of Israel and Judah to himself, intimately.
For a purpose, right?
Exactly. To be his people. For his renown, his praise, his honor, like an ornament, something precious worn close.
But the ruined belt tells the other side of the story.
It does. Just like that belt ended up ruined and useless, the Lord says he will ruin the pride, specifically the great pride of Judah and Jerusalem.
The arrogance.
That pride is the corrupting influence. And it reverses that closeness, that purpose.
And the text is really explicit about why this ruin is coming. It doesn't leave you guessing.
No, it lays it out. Because the people are wicked.
They refuse to listen to God's words.
They follow the stubbornness of their own hearts. Sound familiar?
Yeah, that theme comes up a lot. And they go after other gods,
Mm-mm.
serving them, worshiping them.
And the direct consequence, like that useless rotted belt, they too will become completely useless.
Wow. Useless for the purpose they were intended for.
Precisely. It's not just random punishment. It's the outcome of rejecting their core identity and purpose, as the text portrays it. Spiritual neglect leads to spiritual ruin.
Okay, so that's the belt. A really stark visual. But then it moves on to another analogy.
Equally vivid, maybe even more unsettling in its way.
Jeremiah is told to deliver another message. And at first it sounds almost silly, obvious.
Right. He's supposed to say, every wineskin should be filled with wine.
And you can just imagine the people hearing that, can't you?
Oh, yeah. The text even anticipates it. They'll say, duh. Don't we know that every wineskin should be filled with wine? Thanks for the insight, Jeremiah.
Exactly. Like, what's your point? But then, of course, there's a deeper meaning, a much darker one.
The Lord spells it out. This isn't about actual wine. He says, I am going to fill with drunkenness all who live in this land.
So not literal drunkenness, but a state of, what? Confusion.
Helplessness.
Yeah, disorientation, loss of judgment, loss of control, a state that leads ultimately to self-destruction. And look who it affects.
Everyone. It says kings on David's throne,
Highest authority,
priests, prophets,
spiritual leaders.
and all who live in Jerusalem. It's total. No exceptions. A pervasive condition across the entire society.
And the result of this widespread drunkenness, it's violent.
Extremely. The Lord says he will smash them one against the other.
Even families aren't spared, fathers and sons alike.
It's chaos, internal collapse. And what's really chilling is the line that follows.
Yeah, the lack of mercy.
The Lord declares, I will allow no pity or mercy or compassion to stop me from destroying them.
It underlines the severity, the finality of this judgment. It's presented as the direct result of their choices reaching a breaking point.
So you've had the ruined belt, pride, disobedience becoming useless. Now the wineskins, this induced state of confusion, leading to violent self-destruction. Two powerful images.
And after these analogies, the message becomes much more direct. A command.
An urgent one. Hear and pay attention. Do not be arrogant, for the Lord has spoken.
There's that word again, arrogant. Pride. Link back to the bell.
It seems to be the root issue identified here, the thing stopping them from listening.
And they're given a window, a chance. Give glory to the Lord your God. When?
Before it's too late, before darkness comes, before your feet stumble on the darkening hills.
It feels like a last call. Turn back now, while you still can see the path.
Because if they don't listen, what happens to their hope for light?
It's extinguished, turned into thick darkness and deep gloom, utter hopelessness.
Yeah, not just dark, but thick darkness.
Yep.
Heavy, oppressive.
And this part is incredibly moving. If they still refuse to listen, what does the speaker Jeremiah, voicing God's sorrow, say he'll do?
He says he'll weep in secret because of your pride.
In secret, bitterly, eyes overflowing. Why?
Because the Lord's flock, his own people, are about to be taken captive into exile.
So it's not just anger and judgment, there's this deep grief woven in.
Absolutely. It shows this isn't, a deity enjoying destruction, but one mourning the consequences of the people's stubborn pride.
The focus then narrows, gets really specific, targeting the leadership.
Yes, the king and the queen mother, a direct command to them.
What is it?
Come down from your thrones, humble yourselves, because your glorious crowns, symbols of your power, your status, they're going to fall.
Their reign is over, their honor lost.
It's the political consequence of the nation's spiritual failure laid at their feet.
And that consequence is spelled out. Exile. The cities in the south, the Negev, shut up, empty.
No one left to open them. All of Judah carried away, completely away.
Total removal. Devastation.
And then a question is thrown back at these leaders looking north towards the invaders.
Where is the flock that was entrusted to you?
The sheep of which you boasted. It's an accusation, really. You were shepherds, and look what's happened.
Yeah, shifting that responsibility right back onto them. And there's more pain coming. Described how?
Like a woman in labor, intense, unavoidable pain, and who inflicts it?
This is ironic, isn't it? The very allies they cultivated.
They're political partners, the ones they trusted instead of God.
The Lord will set them over Judah as rulers, as oppressors.
Ouch. The real twisting of the knife there. Your reliance on human power becomes the instrument of your downfall.
So, faced with all this, the ruin, the exile, the pain, the people might ask the obvious question.
Why? Why is this happening to me?
Does the text offer an answer?
It offers the answer. Stark. Unequivocal.
Which is?
It is because of your many sins. Period. No ambiguity.
It doesn't just leave it at sins in general, does it? It gets graphic.
Very. It uses imagery of public shame, humiliation, skirts torn off, body mistreated, their shame exposed.
Why? Why this specific imagery?
It seems to connect their hidden sins with public disgrace. It mentions adulteries and lustful neighings, calling it shameless prostitution.
It also mentions detestable acts on the hills and in the fields.
Which points towards idolatry, worshiping other gods in high places, betraying their covenant with the Lord. It's making the abstract concrete. These are the specific actions leading to the consequences.
And then comes that comparison, the one that really stops you in your tracks.
Yeah, the Ethiopian and the leopard. Can the Ethiopian change his skin or the leopard its spot?
Rhetorical question. Obviously no.
And the devastating follow-up. Neither can you do good who are accustomed to doing evil.
Wow. That feels incredibly final, like saying change is impossible.
It certainly emphasizes the depth of the problem, that evil isn't just occasional acts, but has become ingrained, habitual, accustomed to doing evil, like it's second nature, as immutable as skin color or spots. It's a deeply unsettling image about how ingrained sin can become.
It really makes you pause. How deep does that go?
It's a profound statement on the power of habit, especially bad habits.
So what's the final outcome described for these people so accustomed to evil?
Scattering. Like chaff. I will scatter you like chaff driven by the desert wind. That's their decreed lot, their assigned destiny in the text.
Powerless, dispersed, insignificant like dust in the wind.
And why? The reason is repeated, circling back. Because you have forgotten me and trusted in false gods.
Forgetting God, trusting alternatives. That's the root.
It seems to be the consistent diagnosis throughout the chapter.
The chapter then ends with this cry, almost. A lament.
Yeah. Woe to you, O Jerusalem! How long will you be unclean?
That question just hangs there, doesn't it? How long? It emphasizes the ongoing state, the unresolved
A
problem.
really somber end note.
So putting it all together, this has been, well, a deep dive into some heavy material.
Yeah.
Jeremiah 13 uses these incredibly potent analogies.
The ruined belt, the drunkenness from the wineskins.
Yeah, to hammer home this warning about pride, stubbornness, forgetting God, chasing idols, and becoming so used to doing wrong.
And the consequences are just laid bare. Uselessness, confusion, violence, humiliation, exile.
Yeah.
The symbolic acts and the direct language work together to make the message unavoidable.
What really strikes me is that progression, from the personal symbolism of the belt, to the societal chaos of the wineskins, to the finality of exile, and that deeply troubling leopard spots comparison.
It builds this picture of choices having undeniable, escalating consequences, underscored by that sense of divine grief we talked about.
So thinking about that final comparison, again, being accustomed to doing evil like a leopard's spots, here's something from the text to leave you with.
Okay.
Given how Jeremiah 13 emphasizes this ingrained nature of sin, how difficult change seems once evil becomes habitual. What does this chapter really suggest about the possibility or maybe the urgency of turning back? What does it say about the gravity of letting ourselves become accustomed to doing wrong?
A challenging thought to wrestle with.
Indeed. Thank you for joining us for this deep dive.